This episode was recorded in January of 2022. Although we speak about the pandemic less these days, COVID is still around and affecting many lives. Let's continue to protect each other by following safety recommendations and stopping the spread of COVID-19.
Welcome to Southern Steep, the public health and social justice podcast brought to you by NASDAD, a nonprofit, nonpartisan association mission to end the intersecting epidemics of HIV, viral hepatitis, and related conditions. Much like brewing stronger tea, this platform aims to brew a stronger community by centering community leaders' voices and their innovative work in the Southern United States.
All right, and I guess that is the cue. Welcome to another episode of the Southern Steep. I wish we had some music to play. I know we have a whole intro. I am joined today. Well, first and foremost, I guess I should say my name, huh? So
it would be nice.
It really would be nice. Hey, everybody out there in Disco Land. My name is Jacobi Hunter-Wright, pronouns he, him, his. I am your host today, and I am joined by my lovely, hilarious, and ever so shady with a spoonful of teacup co-host, Bianca. Bianca, you want to say hey to the folks?
I can't because now I'm choking. And then the pressure because I am not always hilarious. But now I got to give the people what they want. We're going to work on it today.
Oh man, so it has been a minute. This is our second episode together, and so is anything new in your world?
We have not recorded since last year, which I know is really just a month ago. But welcome to 2022. New year, new things. But no, I don't know.
Same COVID.
I was just about to say Omicron and them are still in these streets, so I am in my house. How about you?
Listen, I'm waiting for Omicron's cousin to just pop up in the summer. It just, I've been working on my summertime stuff, and it's like I just know somebody's kinfolk is gonna pop up and just throw a wrench in it.
Coming to everybody's cookout. I am hopeful though. This year I am going to stay hopeful.
Yep. So yeah, folks, coming to a neighborhood, school, workforce environment near you. Make sure you check out that next variant. Fingers crossed it don't pop up.
That part.
That part. And so I don't want to prolong us. I am super excited today about our show. We have the ever so lovely Demetrius Welters as our guest today. And so I'm going to start us off by doing a little background. Demetrius was born and raised in Dayton Beach, Florida, by way of Stock Island, Florida. I hope I'm saying it right. So Florida girl. An associate director for a nonprofit that focuses on sexual health. She currently splits her time between Atlanta, Georgia, and Dallas, Texas. Now, as a lobbyist and advocate, Demetrius supplies a voice to the misrepresented and often excluded on issues related to housing, health equity, criminalization, economic sustainability, and freedom of being. Yes, Demetrius. In her self-care time, I love that. Demetrius enjoys attending music festivals, creative expression, whatever that looks like at the moment, and reading nonfiction. One of her greatest accomplishments is being a Black woman in America. Yes. So without further ado, I want to offer virtual hand claps, round of applause, thunderous applause, as we say, in our Florida Loop voice, to Demetrius Welters. Demetrius, how are you? How you doing?
Thank you, Uncle Luke. I can't complain today. Woke up this morning. It's Friday, and we got paid today. So I won't complain at all. How about yourselves?
Oh, you know what? I can't complain. Friday. Bianca, what about you?
Same. And I love it that you said and payday. So just something about starting the day off with that banking app ready with the things we need to, yes, with the things we need to say. I love it. It's a good day.
It's nothing like a coin day. That's what I call it. Not the kind that rings, but the kind that folds, right?
I mean, it all adds up. I'll take a little chicken wing too.
It does. And so before we get started, Demetrius, what are you looking forward to on the show today? Like, what's your expectations?
You know what? I'm looking forward to using my best manners. I am looking forward to being here. I feel like it's an honor, not only to be included in the Southern Steep podcast, but to just be thought of. So and to be a Black woman in the public health field whose voice wants to be heard, even if it's by the two of y'all. I feel honored. So thank you.
Well, no, the honor is
Love
definitely
that.
ours, and really do feel that honor vibe. Like it's an honor type of day where our bank accounts are being honored, the ancestors are being honored, the bills collectors are being honored. Oh man, it's a big honor day, and so in the spirit of honor, I want to kind of go into what type of honor or what brought you into this work.
Oh, okay. So back in the day, I had to be like 7. I was legit. My aunt, my favorite aunt, she sat me down after we had gone to this medical appointment together. And so she was just like, hey, I have AIDS. I was like, and even at 7, I didn't really understand what that meant, but I knew that it was something serious because like she was sitting me down. And then I remember telling some more members of my family, and I remember seeing their reactions. And it was just like, oh, so this really is something. And then as I got older, time progressed. And I was always really just intuitive to sexual health and public health matters. Even as a young child, I remember my sister asking my mom one day what a condom was, and I responded, and I had to be like 5 or 6. And my mother was like, well, how do you know? And so that's really what got me in. And then college, I saw a presentation from Condom Miranda, and I was just like, that's it. That's what I want to do. And since then, I dedicated my life's work to being in this field. So that's the roundabout story of what happened.
You are going to definitely have to school me on Condom Miranda.
So she was this figure. So I went to school in Gainesville, and she was the minority AIDS coordinator there for area, I think it was 214. And so she had this whole like get up. She had like the whole hat with the fruits and condoms attached, and the whole like mariachi skirt, and like it was crazy. And she would just talk to us like real, give us the real about sex, safer sex practices. Like she wasn't like, don't put your mouth on the penis. Like it wasn't like that. It was like, if you gon' suck dick, make sure you cheeking. So she was just teaching us all of these techniques and things so that, it was interesting to us as young adults, but also, it was real. Like she gave it to us real. Like it wasn't some very lame and PC conversation. So I respected that, and I was very receptive to it. And I was like, oh, I want to be just like her. So.
Listen, I am definitely interested. I'm gonna have to find Condom Miranda because she got her teaching that and inspiring the folks. That she was right, definitely in the right calling. So I do want to switch it over to Bianca. Bianca has some questions for you.
So before I even get into the questions, 1, is Condom Miranda still around?
Yes.
2, did you ever get to work with her?
Yes.
See? You better manifest.
Yes. So I was definitely one of those people that was like, oh, what I wanted to get. And so I actually started volunteering with the health department. And I started volunteering specifically with her department. And that was back in 2007. And so she's the first person that taught me how to test. She's the first person that taught me how to do outreach. I do think she has retired since then, though. We recently honored her as one of the women of color in the movement for another organization that I'm a part of. I think she retired like not too long ago.
But I love that she literally passed the baton.
Oh yeah.
Because one, I don't think we can never forget the folks who taught us how to do I remember who taught me how to test and condom demonstrations and all of that. So yeah. So tell me.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to say that's so amazing how like I literally was trained by a school of Black women in this field. That is amazing. I think there's something to say about that. But no, that's all I
Really?
have to say. Go ahead, Bianca.
No, but same. Black women taught me everything I knew as well. Many, many, many years ago. So then let's dive a little bit deeper. Tell us a little bit about the work that you've been doing in communities in the South.
Ooh, so I have traversed around the South a little bit. So I was in Florida first, of course. Then I went to, let's see, what kind of work did I do in Florida? I did outreach, prevention specialist, a lot of direct services, case management, house visits, the traditional way. Then I moved to Atlanta. I did housing there, and I also wrote grants and planned events for the organization I worked for there. And then Texas, now I'm in Texas. So pretty much less direct services, more grant work, but I do still have quite I'm not even gonna say a foot into direct services. Just more so on the admin part. I get to see other people kind of live the dream that I had, and I kind of still wish I lived every now and again. So that is all the work that I have done thus far.
So tell us a little bit. So from Florida to Texas, tell us about Abounding Prosperity, the organization and the role that you play there.
So here at AP, I do work as one of the associate directors. And so when I came in, housing was one of the major things that we were working on progressing. And so through that, we have had a few programs, mostly related to COVID. And so we have had some short-term and longer-term rental and utility assistance programs. We've also had some supplemental services around COVID related to housing. So we've done food assistance. We've also done mental health programs through COVID. And so those are the programs that I've specifically worked on. We recently got some HOPWA funding that I'm really excited about. So we're going to be doing some STRUMU, TBRA, and PAP assistance through that. And we're trying to really focus on creating this continuum of housing. So short-term supportive, long-term supportive, some unsupportive, and then the transition to permanent housing. So that's what I've been doing housing-wise. I've also been able, since I've been here, been a part of expanding our services. So traditionally, we were an organization that focused on LGBTQ plus populations with a primary focus on Black gay men. And so since I've been here, we've been able to expand to women, both cis and more so trans also. But seeing that expansion of services, and even our mission has changed. This is prior to me coming, but our mission has changed to be inclusive of the Black family. So that's some of the work that I've specifically done since I've been here, but we have a whole bunch of things going.
So I know we're gonna dive a little bit deeper into the housing work and the COVID related things, but in terms of just backing up a little bit, if you can just speak to in terms of the expansion of populations that you all are serving, how do you think that has impacted you, the organization? Sometimes those changes for some orgs can be sometimes a little difficult when we've been used to doing things one way or for one group of folks for a long time. But once we start to branch out, sometimes that can be a bit of a cultural shift.
So I will say specifically for me as a woman, it is imperative, and as a Black woman, it is imperative for me to see the whole family touch, right? Because HIV and STDs is not just specific to Black gay men. It's not just specific to any one population of Black people.
That is the true testament of Black women handling 10 things at once: the baby, the toddler, the teenager.
I'm so sorry, y'all.
No.
You know, working nonprofit never ends.
That is in the spirit. It is okay.
A dull moment. But going back to what I was saying, yeah, so it's really imperative that we address HIV and STIs in any health disparity as a Black community as a whole, because it doesn't just lend itself to discriminating against one population. And so I think when we have that collective approach and, you address intersectionalities, you have more efficacy in getting to zero, or at least decreasing disparities. And so that's why it's so important for me specifically as a person. And then if I'm getting more personal as a Black woman, we are the heads of the household. We are, and not just households like 4 brick walls and a door, but the whole household, our friendships. We are the people in the community, like, behind every strong woman is a Black woman. Behind every strong man is a Black woman, they say. Behind every important movement is a Black woman. And so we are the ones that are the change makers. Yes, I give many y'all props too. Y'all do what it do too. But we just have that the that adds the extraness. And so I think it's imperative to include women in these types of movements, because we have the ability to make a difference. We have the ability to, go up to certain populations that maybe a man can't. We have the ability to go in a certain circle that maybe somebody would feel like, oh, this person bringing a little bit too much power. We can do it kind of with stealth, because oftentimes people don't necessarily see us as a threat until we are a threat. But by then it's too late, we've already infiltrated. So definitely women are, as a Black woman, it's imperative to be a part of this, because, we're sisters, daughters, friends, aunts, all of that jazz, mothers. So I think that's why it's important to be inclusive of the whole Black family.
Agreed. I couldn't have said it better myself, that part.
I do have a follow-up question to that. So as a Black gay man in the South, and as part of, a history of folks who inherently, try to respond to health disparities and resource disparities, specifically by the white ivory tower back in the day, I am curious to know and to kind of, garnish your perspective of what has the buy-in, especially like in the last 5 to 10 years in the HIV prevention landscape and care landscape, what has the buy-in been, as you see it, from Black women? Like, how has that support been, not only from the workforce, but from Black women in community as well, as they continue to grow as a very, very vulnerable population?
So I want to give like 2 perspectives, because your question actually invokes something in me. And so from a worker standpoint, it has not always been easy. So let me emphasize that. It comes with its challenges, being a Black woman in public health, because you do encounter people that are like, you can't sit at this table. Like, this ain't got nothing to do with you. Like, this isn't a Black woman's disease, or this is not, how can you work with Black gay men, or how can you work with trans women, and da-da-da-da. So it's not been easy, but struggle builds character, I believe. And so it's definitely, I think, created opportunities for me to think differently, for me to change my perspective on things, to bring a perspective that's different so that it is respected, or more receptive, at least, or more received. And it's also, I think it's made me a little bit tougher too, but I think that's a good thing. And from the other perspective of being a recipient of a potential recipient of care as a Black woman, we got a long way to go because I think that some of us still have archaic thoughts as it pertains to, if we're again speaking specifically to HIV and STIs, that it has nothing to do with us. Also, when you think of things like PrEP and Jacobi, I mean, we weren't even included in the trials, so we can't even use Jacobi, something that we know is effective. Most marketing for PrEP is not marketed towards women. And so, we have those options that are available to us that we don't know of, unless we're in these circles, or unless we are just one of those people that's really interested in educating ourselves. And then we still, again, like I said, we have those archaic mindsets of this isn't for me, this has nothing to do with me, that won't impact me. And so we have a lot of work to do to get to the point where we're like, okay, this includes us too. And we have these options too. And, even if it doesn't include me, I can still help because it includes somebody that I know.
I love that. I love your perspective. And so in that same vein, I know you really have highlighted a lot of things around the housing piece, but I would love to know what are some of the highlights that we don't know? What are some highlights for Demetrius in terms of the work you've done with any population? It could be with women, it could be with MSM. What are like some highlights for you specifically with the work you've done in the South?
So one that sticks out to me right off the bat is, so during my internship, I did my internship with Florida Department of Health. And there was a specific county in North Florida that was hella stigmatized. They had been, I think, in either a Jet article or Ebony article with regards to their rates of HIV. And so because of that, it was like, we talk about it, we don't want no parts. And so I was like, okay, bet, that's a challenge. And so one of my, this is probably one of my career highlights across all this whole almost decade and a half. We went into that county, we were like, we want to throw a party on MBAD. And it just so happened that MBAD was also the same day of the Super Bowl. It was the day that the Saints won the Super Bowl. And so we went in there, we had a whole party. And not only did we have a party in this county, we went to different businesses. They allowed us to post marketing materials. We got one of the most popular DJs in that county to DJ the party. He did lives on the radio. We had people in there with the red ribbon that were flashing lights. Like it was a go party. It was just real lit. I still got pictures from it, I'm not gonna lie.
Love it.
And attendance was really good. And it was just one of those moments like, dang, like I played a part in that, in changing a whole community's perception of not only HIV, but its impacts on the Black community and this specific Black community. So that was definitely one of my career highlights. I would definitely say post-COVID, another one of the highlights would be just testing in general, because, and I won't get into any housing statistics, even though I got some, but testing. So we know that COVID, we have nothing to do as a group of people, as a community. And so, sometimes when you got nothing else to do, you lean on what you know, and sometimes that ends up being sex. And so I am happy to know that our agency really did play an excellent part in not only getting people tested post the pandemic, but also getting people treated for STIs, because that was occurring. And so our testing numbers were off the charts. We saw like a 77% uptake in HIV tests. Our STI test for gonorrhea and chlamydia was like almost 180% uptake. Syphilis was almost 230%. Like, it was crazy. And that was a comparison of the numbers prior to COVID. And then this is in the months following the start of COVID. So it was crazy. But it was good to know, like, okay, like, you get people tested, like, because it's important. Because when we get them tested, and if they got something, we get them treated. And so being able to offer them free treatment at our clinic, and also getting people on PrEP too. We were able to do that. So those are some highlights. And mental health. Oh, we have this whole mental health movement. Finally. Black people, we need mental health treatment. Talk to somebody. Whatever you need to do, it is a fact. It is statistically proven that Black people have a genetic predisposition to mental health issues because of all of the trauma we have been through. I don't care how many times you be like, I ain't crazy or ain't nothing wrong with me. Talk to somebody anyway. Ain't nothing wrong with you. And so through our COVID program, we were able to offer mental health counseling free of charge to over 350 people. And I think like 92% of those were Black. And we had roughly 5 or 6% that were of Hispanic ethnicity. So I think that was super important to me because, you know, we don't talk about that in our community. We're fine. Nothing's wrong with us. So for people to actually realize that, yes, I'm fine, nothing's wrong with me, but I still want to talk to somebody, I'm proud.
When so I, for one, and I have my own personal, you know, affordances and constraints with that double-edged sword, mental health. But as I continue to grow in one of my own, and I do say one because I'm consistently finding new pieces of myself in myself. As I continue to grow, I do understand the importance of, you know, creating boundaries that kind of nurture a healthier mental health, not only within ourselves, but within our environments, because I don't think folks know we are inherently born as people of color into environments that do not support positive mental health reinforcement. And so I think it is an amazing thing that, you know, the agency is doing its part, not only to reinforce the idea of services, but accessing services and normalizing those services. And to have like over a 90% uptake in access into mental health services, specifically in the South and Dallas County, that's a big thing. That's a huge feat, not to be acknowledged. And so, like, my kudos go off and out to y'all. And so, with that being said, I want to pivot a little bit because you've said a couple of things, and I noticed that your language is really inclusive and it's very welcoming. And so the thought of health equity comes to mind. And I want to know, I think everyone has a different understanding of health equity. And I do think that health equity looks different demographic wise, environment wise, geography wise. So there's like an intersectionality to it that has to be addressed. So I would love and invite you to talk about what health equity is to you and what are some of the ways that you try to ensure through your own, you know, personal and professional mission. How do you ensure that health equity works and is provided in your programs?
So health equity to me means me being able to access the services that make sure my life is maintained to its fullest potential without any of the extra BS. That's extra BS in paperwork that's unnecessary. That's extra BS in me having to call 18 million people just to make an appointment. That's extra BS in, I can't get that appointment until 18 months later. That's the extra BS in, now that I finally got the appointment, I got to pay $8 million. Like, so not having all of that, or the extra BS of, you know, the closest provider is 18 miles away. And so health equity to me is, again, making sure that, you know, there is an adequate facility to administer adequate services to me from an adequate provider who treats me as a sole individual and not treats me as a community or as their perception of what they think I may be or who I may be doing or any of that. And does it with a smile. I want some Chick-fil-A service in our health provider. So that is what I think of when I think of health equity. And so we, in our healthcare field, we have red carpet care experiences. That's what it's called. And so that's actually one of the mottos, our creed here at AP and Hope, which is our clinical partner, is making sure we kind of remove those barriers. So we do telemedicine, telehealth services. We have mobile testing units, so we'll take the treatment services to you if we need to. We'll meet with you virtually if transportation is a barrier. If transportation is a barrier, we have either options for assisting with gas or bus travel. If you can't afford it, that's fine because we ain't charging anyway. If you have no insurance, that's fine because we ain't clocking for it anyway. If you do, great. If you don't have insurance, let's talk about why you don't have insurance and let's try to get you on some of this government insurance that they got going. And so addressing the whole person, because again, health is health and wellness. It's not just my physical health or my mental health or whatever. So making sure we're serving that person in and out, and making sure that we're doing it individualized. Because again, I don't want to make any assumptions about anybody based off of what I think they may be or may not do. Listening and building that rapport with our clients, so that they are more open, and sharing with us so that we can treat them better, and making sure we're providing care that's thorough. Hopefully that wasn't too much of a tangent.
That was excellent because I feel like so many things. One, thank you for speaking all of that. And just to me, what I also heard is like the importance of access, like being able to literally access the things that you need to thrive and to receive that care in a way that truly is person-centered. That's what we all want, right? Like, it shouldn't have to be this hard.
It should. Doctors make too much money for it to be as difficult as it is. And like even some personal experiences, if I may get personal, I won't get too personal, but like I recently went to the doctor and the doctor didn't bill my insurance. And so I got a bill for over $1,000. And I was just like, doctor, why didn't you bill my insurance? Oh, I did. You can do it.
Well, I'm sorry, what'd they say?
She said I could do it. If I'm doing it, I don't need to pay you. So
that part.
Look, good day. I'll take care of it. Don't worry about it. like things like that. Or like my mother, she went to so many doctors. Something was wrong with her several years ago. Went to so many doctors, kept dismissing her. Finally, her primary care was even like, because I kept meeting with the doctors, like, what is wrong with this woman? I've known her my whole life, and I know something's wrong with her, even though she's extra. And she was like, she definitely doesn't have cancer. Fast forward some months later, my mother freaking has stage 3 cancer. Like, if y'all had listened to her initially, we would not be at this point. And so like, and she's educated. She has children that are educated. She has a vehicle. She has luxuries, right? And so just to think of all the people that don't have those luxuries and to think of the experiences that they may experience, having to be on the phone hours and hours at a time, like that's BS. Like that is BS. Like there's no way and no reason, no rhyme why that should be happening at all.
And not only does she have the luxuries that you mentioned, but she has you to advocate for her. And I always think about the many years I was a case manager, and working with folks, and just they would say, Miss Bianca, I don't know what I would do without you. And I didn't think about that until also dealing with health issues with my own mother, where it's like, man, if I wasn't there to advocate for all of the things that she literally needed to survive. And there are so many people in this country that do not have folks to advocate for them. Oof.
And it's almost like sometimes especially in communities of color, like it doesn't even matter how much money you have. Like
It doesn't.
like it's still like, yeah, you got some money, but you just ain't nothing really wrong with you. Like,
Right.
and so it's just like, dang, like if you think this, what's keeping me from thinking this? Because doctors and pastors are like the
Yes.
supreme beings in our community. They can do no wrong, they can say no wrong. And so whatever they say is law. And I'm like, no, like, no. Second, third, fourth opinion until you are fine with the opinion that they give you. So
Exactly. Woo. Yeah, you know what? I could literally get on a soapbox again, but I'm not. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna backflip off it, and we're going to just segment and transition to kind of some of our closing questions. But these are questions that we ask every guest on Southern Steep. So we definitely want to hear from you as somebody who is, from what I've heard, always been in the South. So, what do you love about the South, and what do you want to see for the South?
oh, the South is the dirty. So it's just our whole swag, right? So we got the best music, we got the best food, we have the friendliest people, we have the most diverse and beautiful scenery, we have the most diverse populations of people. And so I really think that's what makes the South so special. And again, it is the hub when you think of like the slave trade, when you think of crappy voting rights, and when you think of all of the discrimination, you think of the South too. But in the silver lining of those very cloudy clouds, again, I think struggle builds character. And I think that because of all of the crap that we went through in the South, we are better people because of it. And I think that we have a greater chance of making the biggest difference when I think of national change. And as it pertains to the work we do, we see the largest disparities of any health anomaly in the South. And we see the most challenges and barriers to changing those things. And so it one means that we have more work to do, which is a good and a bad thing. But it's a good thing because it gives us the opportunity to be more innovative. It gives us the opportunity to work together more. It gives us the opportunity to really change the perspective of not all things negative, but change perspectives on a good number of negative things. And kind of be like, yeah, we in the South, we did that. Like we put our stamp on it. And now you all can go and translate this to wherever your parts of the country are and do the same thing. So I think we have our collective minds and our collective efforts and the passion that we have is really going to be the catalyst for change.
I think I get chills every time you say struggle builds character. Like that might have to be my email signature. that is real. That is real. And the way you put it is just very much an aha moment for me. So thank you for sharing that. How can people learn more about Abounding Prosperity and its initiatives?
So you can go to our website, www.aboundingprosperity.org. You can give us a call, 214-421-4800 or 214-421-4802. You can also shoot us an email, info@aboundingprosperity.org. You can follow us on social media at Abounding Prosperity Inc., maybe. If not, try at Abounding Prosperity. I ain't good on social media, y'all, so bear with me. I think on Instagram it's at Abounding Prosperity, and then on Facebook it's AP Inc. Community. Yeah,
I believe you. I believe that it is one of those things. But if not, you gave us 2 phone numbers, so we could always call and ask.
Yes, hit us up. Or they can come visit us. If you are just visiting, stop by. We have 3 locations, but come to 1705 MLK. 215. We're in South D, the big D. That's what they tell me it's called, but I don't believe it all.
And if folks wanted to get in touch with you specifically at Abounding Prosperity, how would they do that?
So they can call the number that ends in 4802.
Okay.
Or they can send me an email. It is dwelters, DWELTERS at aboundingprosperity.org.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. It's time for a segment we call Southern Charm. Here at the Southern Steep, we like to highlight the work of someone or an organization that is charmingly impacting the South. And on today's episode, we are highlighting BEAT AIDS, also known as Beat AIDS, which stands for Black Effort Against the Threat of AIDS. Beat AIDS expresses their commitment to excellence and is met by their ability to meet people where they are, whether they're recovering or desiring change, whether they're homeless, incarcerated, abused, neglected, isolated, and actively addicted. To learn more about their work and how to support their work, please visit www.beataids.org.
And for those who are interested in learning more about Southern Steep and the work of really great organizations that are doing fabulous work in the South, feel free to visit our NASDAD's CBO hub at nasdad.org/CBOHUB. And for more episodes of Southern Steep, you can catch them wherever you listen to podcasts. Southern Steep is there. Until next time, I am Bianca Ward.
And I am Jacobi Hunter-Wright.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.